everyone. We are going further with another amazing speaker. I'm super excited to introduce Paula Petcu, Head of Digital Technologies at Lundbeck. She was named one of the 2018 top 100 talents in Denmark under the age of 35. She started as a consultant specializing in enterprise search at Findwise, then worked with the process and analyzing clinical and omics data at Lundbeck, an international pharmaceutical company. Currently, she's leading activities for implementing digital health technologies in clinical trials. Please welcome on the stage, Paula. Discover, inspire, engage. The stage is yours. I will be back for some Q&As if you have time. Enjoy.
Thank you, Anna. And thank you everyone for having me here at this conference. It's a pleasure to join you and be part of celebrating all the wonderful women in tech. It's great to see this, and great to see also so many attendees from different sides of the world. My presentation today will actually focus on sharing some highlights from my personal experience. Since I believe that life is some way a journey of discovering ourselves and discovering the world, my presentation is focused on discovering, inspiring, and engaging. So I hope that I can share some of my personal highlights from my career, inspire you to take action, and to hopefully start a discussion on how we can get more things done. So if we look at the Discover, sharing my story a bit in the hope to inspire you, I originally come from Romania, but I moved to Denmark to finish my master's education. And it's really important to say that I started with computer science back in Romania. I was likely influenced also by the ones around me, especially my mother, who's been a role model for me, showing that, yes, you can have a family and also be a successful woman in the professional world as well. So that showed me, okay, yes, that's a nice role model. There is no pressure on me to not choose what I really want to do. And that was working with computers. But then for my master's, I went to Copenhagen to finish my master's studies and continue my education in computer science. And that was a very smart move, looking in retrospect, since that meant getting familiar with a new culture, new types of working. The educational system in Romania and Denmark, they're quite different. So it was quite a journey to be able to challenge myself, challenge the skills that I have, my ability to adapt to new situations and new cultures, learn a new language, and also to be able to understand what new career possibilities are for me in Denmark. And definitely it proved that there are so many things that I could do more here in Denmark than in Romania. So I'm still here. When I worked on my master thesis here in Copenhagen, I actually worked on building a search engine for helping clinicians identify difficult medical cases. And that was an idea that came from my supervisor at that time. But also it was a quite amazing project that really showed me that I can combine my computer science skills and apply those in the healthcare domain. It was quite impressive when we got a lot of coverage from MIT Technology Review, other publications, and also recognition from clinicians and patients that they are using the solution that I contributed with. And this was a very nice push for me to see that I can definitely do more than what I was taught in school. There's value that I can add using solutions, software solutions, and combine data and technology to bring value. So after that, I started working as a consultant. And to be honest, when I was young, I guess even before university, just hearing about the role of a consultant, it sounded like it was someone with many years of experience, like probably over 50. So I couldn't have imagined myself as a consultant. But then after graduating, I actually started working at Findwise, which is a company working with providing enterprise search solutions for companies. And I have to say, I was fortunate to have great managers and great colleagues to give me the opportunity to develop myself. As a new graduate, I of course had a lot of things to learn. But if I were to give some advice to someone that is looking for a challenge, becoming a consultant is a great choice. You learn a lot of things in very short time. Fast forwarding to where I'm now, I'm currently heading the digital technologies team at Lundbeck. And as Dana mentioned, Lundbeck is a pharmaceutical company. And we're working on finding better treatments for patients with brain diseases. I started as a data analyst in the company and then moved through different roles. But the roles that I had over time, I couldn't have imagined those. For example, data scientist, I couldn't have imagined those while I was in university, to be honest, because that was not the field, the role wasn't defined yet. So I saw the presentation that Catherine Thornton gave some time before, and I could totally agree with her. Like, for her career path, mine was like that as well, that it wasn't all planned out. She hasn't planned to go into space when she was little. I didn't plan to become a data scientist or manager as I am now. But I think knowing what drives me and that I can put my trust in my ability to adapt made me really successful so far, and also makes me think that I can be part of defining the future and defining my future role. In addition to that, I'm also playing a bit with the idea of working as an entrepreneur in a startup called Healthy Mindtech. And we are 3 people, 2/3 women. I am the CTO slash making things happen person in the company. And this is something that I'm doing in my free time. We recently participated in a competition with Accenture on using AI solutions for mental health. And I can say that we were among the 4 finalists. But out of the 4 finalists, I was the only woman actually representing the company. And I actually looked also on the website for Women in Tech Network on the stats that you have, and it's quite incredible to see the low percentages of the representation of women in technology. So we can definitely do more. And the way that I hope to inspire people is to show my work and share the learnings that I have. Around 5 years ago, I started playing with an Arduino. That's something that I haven't done before, trying to go into hardware. I'm a computer scientist, so I'm used to sitting in front of the computer and coding, not much to take computers apart and look what's inside and build them back again. However, around 5 years ago, I discovered that I can combine my software engineering skills with something physical, that I can build something, not only an app or a software product for a company, but I can actually build something that I see in my hands, and it's also useful. I started with smart home, but now I'm sharing all my projects online in the hope that I inspire others and share ideas with others and learn from them as well, because this is a journey of learning. And in addition to this challenge of putting my workout in video format, it was an extra challenge for myself to actually get more comfortable with my voice and speaking on camera, which for someone who hasn't done that before and you hear your voice for the first time, it can be quite difficult. So this has pushed me forward in my ambition to be more visible. And my current project is actually working on a humanoid robot. And so I went from small devices with sensors in my home. Now I'm building a full-size humanoid robot. And here I'm developing my skills in also electronics, but also mechanics and better understanding the human body. So bought myself a big book for anatomy and trying to understand how we work, basically. And I think another aspect of this that is quite interesting is exploring the gender attribution for robots. A lot of the assistants that we have in our home, like the Google Home or Alexa and so on, by default, they have a woman voice. Why is that? And for some time, you couldn't even change that. So that was a default and the only option. Now they've relaxed that a bit. But why? There's some bias there. And also, if you look at all the other projects on humanoid robots and who's building them, it's mainly dominated by male makers creating female-shaped robots. So I'm exploring what does it take to create a humanoid robot, but also what exists, how do we find gender, should there be a gender for the robots, and exploring also the art of making such a, of creating something from scratch. If we look at my YouTube channel, just to give you a sneak peek on the stats of my audience, you will see that it is definitely male dominated. Only 10% of my audience is female. I don't think that's something different than other makers that put their projects on YouTube. But I always feel very proud when I'm looking at the comments and I see comments from my female audience asking questions and providing feedback and interacting with the content I put up there. So that's very, very encouraging. But definitely can do more. This is definitely not enough. So what can we do? How we can be more involved and participate into what's happening. I'm a get things done person, so I have some specific ideas that I would like to share with you, and then I would like to open for discussion if we have time to get your feedback and ideas on how we can move this field forward. So I think in terms of what we can do and what we need to do, there are certain changes we can make ourselves. And I think we had some really good presentations today from the other speakers on what we can do for ourselves to just ask for what you want, see yourself where you want to be, do what you're curious about, don't just do what the others tell you, find that passion, and go for it. If you're doing something that you're not passionate about, you're more likely to fail. And there are changes we can do for others to inspire, and especially as leaders, we have a responsibility to not only inspire, but ensure fairness and diversity in the workplace and be the drivers for change. In addition to these, networks such as this one that we are part of now are really important to show that we still have a problem. I'm also part of some other networks, and sometimes people ask, like, why is this a network only for women? It's pretty simple because there's still a problem and it needs to be solved. So we need to come together and work on a solution. Until the problem is not solved, then we will need these networks. And the last part, I think we need some changes in the organizations and countries by laws and regulations that promote equal pay, paid parental leave, having to choose between having a family or a successful career. That should not be a question. Maybe COVID does influence a bit the number of hours that one can work from home, have more flexibility. But there is definitely more work to be done. And I can say here that I'm privileged. I recognize that I'm privileged in a way to be living in a country such as Denmark that promotes many of these things. But it's not perfect. There is work to be done. With these thoughts in mind, I would just like to leave you with my favorite quote. And that's the best way to predict the future is to hack it.
I love it. The best way to predict the future is to hack it. I love it. More power to you. I really love what you're doing. And thanks for the kind words about Women Tech Network and the other Women Tech focused network out there. The more networks like ours and others, the more we can empower, support, and encourage women to go in tech, to stay in tech, and to make an impactful job, just like you do, Paula.
Exactly.
Thank you very much for this great presentation. Unfortunately, we don't have time for Q&As, but we'll be glad to have you as a speaker more at our events. And what is the best way to connect with you? You showed your YouTube channel so people can follow you on your YouTube channel and stay tuned for your cool videos.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thanks, Paula. Have a nice day. Stay with us. Bye-bye.